So we finish Imam Yusuf Rahmatullah alayhi's dalil, right? The fetus didn't commit any crime, and therefore it's not permissible to abort the fetus. And therefore, this pregnancy is also uh, muhtaram, and therefore you should respect the pregnancy, and therefore you should not allow anyone to marry hubla min az-zina, right? فالطرفين دليل ولهما أنها من المحللات بالنص. That طرفين دليل is that this woman is from those women who are halal via nas, right? فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء وأحل لكم ما وراء ذلكم, that nas, right? وحرمة الوتي كي لا يسقي ماءه كي لا يسقي ماءه زرع غيره. And the prohibition of making wati. So you're allowed to marry her because she's permissible by nas. But because she's pregnant, you can't make wati, right? So the prohibition of wati is so that he doesn't make his water into the plantation of someone else. Doesn't pour his water into somebody else's plantation. You understand it? Because now that the child is now somebody else's, even though it's not going to be linked to that child, you understand? But because she's pregnant, so he can't pour his water into somebody else's plantation. وَالْإِمْتِنَاعُ فِي ثَابِتِ النَّسَبِ لِحَقِّ صَاحِبِ الْمَاءِ. And the prohibition in that child usabit nasab is for the right of the owner of the water. So in other words, we say that, or Tarfain says that the child who sabitun nasab, he's got a father, not from zina, right? He's got a father. So why you can't marry there is because of the right of the father, right? Right. Wala hurmata lizani, and there is no respect for the zani. You don't have to respect him. You understand it? You don't have to. As a child who's got the father, you understand it, right? فإن تزوج حاملا من الصبي فالنكاح فاسد لأنه ثابت النسب. There's an example now of the one who's ثابت النسب, right? And you want to marry now, but she's pregnant and ثابت النسب, but the nikah broke now, right? So if we marry a pregnant woman from the captives, so you brought over a woman from that side and she was pregnant. So obviously this child here, they got a father, you understand it? So the nikah is fasid because the child is sabitun nasab. وَإِنْ زَوَّجَ أُمَّ وَلَدِهِ وَهِيَ حَامِلٌ مِنْهُ فَالنِّكَاحُ بَاطِلٌ. And if he marries off his own walad. So walad is that slave girl who gave birth to for the master. You understand it? So he marries her off now. And she's pregnant. She is pregnant from him. You understand? Then the nikah is batil. لِأَنَّهَا فِرَاشٌ لِمَوْلَاهَا. Because she is a bed for her master. She's actually a bed for her master now, right? حَتَّى يَثْبُتَ نَسَبُ وَلَدِهَا مِنْهُ مِنْ غَيْرِ دَعْوَةٍ. So much so that the lineage of her child is established from the master without claim. You understand it? So even if the master doesn't claim, even if the master doesn't claim the child will be attributed to the master because they had given birth before. So this is the second child, right? فلو صح النكاح لحصل الجمع بين الفراشين. So if the nikah were to be correct, if we were to allow such a nikah, then gathering between two firash would be achieved. One is the firash of the new husband and the firash of the master. إلا أنه غير متأكد, except the firash of the walad is not strong. It's not strong. It's a firash da'if. The nikah is called a firash qawi, which means the bed is strong, which means that the husband is in South Africa and the wife is in Australia. The wife gets pregnant, it's the husband's child. You got that? That's called firash da'if. But the firash qawi. And on the other hand, The slave girl is firashil da'if. The slave girl gets a child. The child will not be the master's until he claims the child. So that's what they say, except that it is not strong. حتى ينتفي الولد بالنفي من غير لعان. So much so that the child will be negated with negation without li'an. You understand? Right. So basically, the master says, no, that's not my child. That finish is not his child. And there won't even be li'an also on the master. But if a husband says that to his wife, he has to take li'an. You understand it? Right. فلا يعتبر ما لم يتحصل ما لم يتصل به الحمل. So this firash will not be considered as long as a pregnancy is not connected with it. So basically what I'm saying here is that if the master marries off his slave girl and she is not pregnant, permissible. But if she's pregnant, then the nikah won't be permissible because that child now gives strength now to the what's the name? You can't now marry her off, right? ومن توتي جاريته ثم زوجها جاز النكاح. And whoever makes wati with his own female slave, then he marries her off. Then the nikah is permissible. See, there's the same thing now, the offshoot of that. You made wati with her, but because she's a firash da'if, you can't marry her off, right? لأنها ليست بفراش لمولاها. Because she's not a firash for her master, because he didn't claim any child. You understand? She is a firash, but firash da'if, right? فإنها لو جاءت بولد لا يثبت نسبه من غير دعوة. Because if she brings a child, his lineage will not be established to the master without a claim. You understand it? So basically, since she's firash da'if, the child will not be the master's unless he say, that's my child. Then that woman will become, that slave will become his walad. But till he doesn't say it's his child, that child won't be attributed to him. إلا أن عليه أن يستبرئها صيانة لمائه, except that it is morally binding. You understand it? They got here mustahab for him, right? To clear her womb, to protect his water. Remember, he made wati with her now, right? Then the next day he's marrying off to another man. So they say it's mustahab for him to let she to clear her womb. In other words, let she observe one haze at least. Then you know she's not pregnant now, right? Yeah. She's still a firash da'if, but because she's pregnant now, you understand it? Then that child is attributed to the master now, because he had a child with her. Yeah. And then he marries her off. You understand it? Right. So, or even in the first case too. In the first case, I would say he had a child with her before, but now he's pregnant from her. And this master is saying that's his child. So that makes him the walad. The master saw she's pregnant, said, that's my child. But the moment he said that, now the child is going to be attributed to him. So now he can't marry her off now. You understand it? But in the case where he just made vati and she wasn't pregnant, then there's a difference there. But so it's mustahab for him to make istibra to protect his water. وإذا جاز النكاح فللزوج أن يطأها قبل الاستبراء عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف رحمة الله عليه. And when nikah is permissible now, since he married her off, he made vati with her yesterday, today he married her off, and now nikah is permissible, so it's permissible for the husband to make vati istibra according to Tarfain, right? According to Shaykhain. وقال محمد لا أحب له أن يطأها قبل أن يستبرئها. I do not wish for him to make wati with her before he makes her istibra. You understand? So Imam Muhammad said no. Since the master didn't do istibra, it was mustahab to the master to do istibra, right? But since he didn't do that now, and he married her off. Then Shaykhain says still permissible for the husband to make wati immediately. But Imam Muhammad says mustahab for the husband to make istibra. You understand? لأنه احتمل الشغل بماء المولى, because a possibility of being engaged with the water of Mawla is there. The womb is now engaged with the water of the Mawla. فوجب تنزه. So abstaining becomes wajib, right? So abstaining becomes wajib. So yeah, Imam Muhammad is now saying, he's saying la uhibbu lahu. Yeah, but now, well, then he's saying it's wajib. So it seems like according to him, it is wajib to make that istibra. You understand it? Kama fi shirai. Just as everybody says, you purchase a slave girl, right? You must make istibra before making wati, right? ولهما أن الحكم بجواز النكاح إمارة الفراغ. Shaykhin's dalil is that the ruling with the permissibility of nikah is a sign of the womb being empty. If the Sharia says nikah is permissible, and that's a sign, they say, that the womb is empty, right? فلا يؤمر بالاستبراء لا استحبابا ولا وجوبا. So you will not be commanded to make istibra, neither mustahab and neither wujub. بخلاف الشراء, contrary to purchasing now. لأنه يجوز مع الشغل, because purchasing is permissible with the whom being engaged. You understand it? So what they're saying here is that the fact that he's allowed to make nikah, that's a sign that the womb is empty. So they can make what's the name? Wati immediately without making needing to make istibra. And they say that unlike the situation of purchasing, when you purchase a slave girl, then that because purchasing is permissible with a womb that's engaged, therefore you should make istibra of one eyes. وكذا إذا رأى امرأة تزني فتزوجها حل له أن يطأها قبل أن يستبرئها. And likewise, when he sees a woman making zina, then he marries her, it's permissible for him to make wati with her before he makes her istibra, according to the Shaykhain indahuma. فقال محمد لا أحب له أن يطأها ما لم يستبرئها. Right? And Imam Muhammad said, I not wish for him to make wati with her as long as he did not make her istibra. وَالْمَعْنَى مَا ذَكَرْنَا. And the reasons is what we have mentioned already in the previous example. It's the same there, they say. You see the man making zina, you see this woman making zina, then you marry her. So Shaykh say you can make wati with her immediately. Imam Muhammad say you should istihbaban or wujuban. According to the stuya now, the ibadat is not clear. From one aspect, he's showing that it's istihbab for him to make istibra, and the other way, he's showing this wujub for him to make istibra. وَنِكَاحُ الْمُتْعَةِ بَاطِلٌ. And the nikah of mut'ah is batil, right? And what's the nikah of mut'ah? وَيَقُولَ لِإِمْرَأَةٍ. And it is that he says to a woman, أَتَمَتَّعُ بِكِ كَذَا مُدَّةً بِكَذَا مِنَ الْمَالِ. I will enjoy you for such and such time, but such and such amount. You got it now? I will take enjoyment from you. Right. وقال مالك وجائز لأنه كان مباحا. Imam Malik Ahmad says permissible because it was permissible. فيبقى إلى أن يظهر ناسخة. So it will remain until a abrogator becomes apparent. Right? So this, although it's correct that Imam Malik also said that no, the nasikh has been found, the abrogator, it has been abrogated. Right? قلنا ثبت النسخ بإجماع الصحابة. We say that this abrogation has been established with the consensus of the Sahaba, right? There was only one Sahabi that delayed in agreeing, and he was Ibn Abbas. So we say, وابن عباس صح رجوعه إلى قولهم فتقرر الإجماع. And Ibn Abbas, his retraction is also correct to the statement of all the Sahaba. So ijma has now been fixed. You understand? Ijma is fixed. So they say actually that that mut'ah that they're saying there that was permissible wasn't actually a mut'ah. It was a nikah muwakkat. However, that's also been abrogated from the abrogation of Allah Sahaba. So they can explain now. وَالنِّكَاحُ الْمُوَقَّةُ بَاطِلٌ. And this restricted or a nikah which is restricted to a particular time is batil. You understand? مثل أن يتزوج امرأة بشهادة شاهدين عشرة أيام. That's what it means. For example, that he marries a woman with the witnessing of two witnesses for 10 days. You understand the difference between this and mut'ah? Is mut'ah you don't need witnesses. Yeah, you need witnesses. Nikah muwakkat. You understand it? وقال زفر هو صحيح لازم. Imam Zufar say it is the nikah is correct and it is binding, right? لأن النكاح لا يبطل بشروط الفاسدة, because nikah doesn't become batil with fasid sharts. So Imam Zufar is he saying here that this nikah, right? A nikah muwakkat. What we say is batil. He say it's jais. What do you mean jais? In other words, it will go through. It will go through, but it won't be for 10 days. It will be for forever. And that fasid shart will fall away, correct? ولنا أنه أتى بمعنى okay, leave it till there.